Hi everyone, welcome to Driven by Curiosity, where we explore the stories and ideas that shape our world. Today's guest is Shirlyn Lim, a brain health coach, nutritionist, mental health speaker, and a mother of three. She helps high performers reduce stress, sharpen focus, and live healthier and more balanced life. In this episode, we will talk about stress, brain health, and what it really takes to thrive in today's world. Welcome to our show, Shirlyn.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Homam. I'm excited and glad to be on the podcast Driven by Curiosity.
Awesome. So I was actually going through your LinkedIn profile. You have very amazing background and profile.
Thank
And I noticed you started your journey in studying commerce, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes,
So
that's right.
could you tell me a little bit about your background and what happened? What is this shift that you took into mental health?
Oh wow, it's a long journey actually, Homam. Do we have time?
Sure.
I'll have to start
All
from
the time.
5-year-old.
Okay, yeah.
Actually, not that long. During my teenage years, I wanted to study psychology. I told my dad that I want to study psychology because I'm really fascinated by how human thinking and human behavior. And of course, being a Chinese Asian man, he said that this is in the 90s, right? He said, oh no, my dear, you have to study something that could put food on the table. You could eventually find a job. And back then in 90s, mental health was not a big thing. And so like being a psychology was probably not even popular in Malaysia, right? He will be, his mind will be thinking, oh, my daughter, if she's in this profession, she will have to work in US and things like that. So I don't know what crossed his mind, but he said that, you go for accounting because every company needs an accountant. All right. And if they don't have one, they'll outsource to somebody that does it. And you could be that someone to do it for them. So I said, all right. So I studied accounting. I went to UWA to do my Bachelor of Commerce in Accounting and Finance. Came back, be an auditor, 4 years, terribly burnout. During that period, some days I would not see the sun for few days, for 4 or 5 days. Because I live in Klang and my office is in Damansara Heights. I will have to travel back and forth through the jam and all that, right?
So you go very early and you come back later.
Exactly. I will beat the jam. I will leave the house at 6:30. By the time I reach office, it's by 7-ish. The sun hasn't rise. I will walk into the office, do work. The moment I, wanted to leave, it's already 8 p.m. or 9 p.m. The moment I walk out, it's dark again. So, and suddenly it just dawned on me, oh, how come I haven't seen the sun for a few days? And it's really bad for mental health,
Yeah,
and it was terrible feeling. It was a terrible feeling, but I knew that I had to do something. I can't just walk away and not doing something, right? And just about the same time, I got married, and my husband's photography business was kind of picking up, and he wrote me into his company to help him with his admin operation work. So I left the audit world. I thought it was for good, right? And I burned the bridges and went on to entrepreneurship. And for about 14 years, I was there. 14 years, I was helping my husband building his business and doing all the other stuff except photography and graphic design, which I'm lousy at. And only in 2021, when I lost my aunt during the COVID time, I lost my aunt. She caught COVID, and she was only 54 years old. I thought she would have made it because 54 was rather young, right? And a lot of people in their 50s caught COVID and they could recover. So I thought it was just another flu for her. But it turns out it took her life. It took her life by my big surprise and shock. And it was that time that it shook my world. And I asked myself, if today I lose my life, because that during those times it was very uncertain, that lockdown period, remember? Everything was uncertain. And I asked myself, if today I lose my life, just like my aunt can go like that, right? Why not me, right? Who knows? And have I done anything significant with my life, except for helping my husband and having 3 kids, and growing these little children? What have I done really with my life? Really for me, for Shirlyn. And I stare back at myself and the answer was nothing. I've not done anything for my life. In fact, I've not done something that is really true to myself. It's always been supporting others. Yes, my core value is still supporting others, I still believe in supporting the family and people I love and my friends, but there need to be a space for me, right? And I remember this nudge in my heart saying that I still love psychology, because all this while I've been reading books and experimenting with my kids and my husband on all this, techniques and whatnot that I have learned from books and podcasts and whatnot, right? And they say that, it's really in your blood. You have to do something about this. So I went on to get certification. I went to Dr. Amon's university to learn how to connect the two, brain and mental health, because I have a bit of background in the nutrition side. And so I thought, all right, if food can make our body better, can heal our body, I wonder if it could heal our mind. So that's how I made the connection of these two, the biology with psychology, and I merged it, and I managed to learn things that could certify me and give me more credibility to help others in this area. Yeah.
Amazing.
So yeah, that's my story.
It's really inspiring story. Like, you talk about the burnout. There's a lot to unpack here. You supported your husband to build his successful business. You raised 3 kids, and then you kind of questioned. You have a big question about your life, and you kind of reinvent yourself to helping others. So you still want to do something for yourself, but it's still helping others through the mental health. But I would like to go to the burnout question, because I also went through, I think, multiple burnout before. Can you tell me a little bit what burnout look like? Like, how do someone know they are burned out? And why we never heard that the older generation had burned out? Are we too soft, or things change? Life now is harder? Because a lot of people say last time it was harder. Like, some people could not find food. There was poverty. There was famine even. But now it's quite comfortable if you compare it. But it seems that people are under more stress, and there are new things coming up, like burnout, a lot of things. So could you tell me?
Okay, this is based from my perspective, right? The way I see it. Back then, in our grandfather or great-grandfather's generation, things were hard. Like you mentioned, wartime, famine, unemployment, right, through the roof. And they could only make that little to feed 10 kids.
Yes.
Right? Can you imagine? Put yourself in their shoe. Wow, life was really tough back then. Now we have husband and wife, both of us making income, living in a nice urban area, feeding 2 kids, and we could not take it. Why? It just doesn't make sense, right?
Yeah.
But here's the thing. Back then, in our grandfather's generation, things were simpler, right? Even though it's hard, it's simpler for their brain to understand and come to terms to know that, all right, these are the things that is put in front of me, and these are the things that I am in control, that I can do. Meaning what? Like brute force, making ends meet by working harder, taking 2 jobs, 3 jobs, or even more, right? But they know when they do ABC, the result, it's quite certain that they will reap this amount of whatever reward that they are looking after, and that reward is what they want. And it, in a way, it's still very much within their control, right? Now, you compare our time, everything is changing. Disruption is everywhere. The successful companies are disrupting themselves, right? Going into different direction to sort of fulfill their customers' needs and wants in multiple directions, from high ticket item to lowest ticket item. They just want to disrupt the market because they know if they don't do that, somebody will, right? Everything is changing with AI, and you are the expert in that area. As we speak, things might be developing somewhere, somehow, by someone. And tomorrow we wake up, the world could be a very different world, right? So the speed of things is going beyond what our brain can comprehend. And that makes us almost always in a very stressed out mode. Like when you're uncertain, when you are going through rapid changes, and it's chronic, it's almost never stop. And you think about, if today is going to be hard, next year, next month is going to be harder because new things are coming up, right? And inventors like you keep coming up with new software, and people like us who are entrepreneurs who are trying to learn this particular software. Next month is another new software coming out. We'll be like, oh no, I have to relearn something. And that kind of stress just put us in constant stress, and that made us in a state of burnout rather easily compared to our grandfather's time. if that makes sense.
Yeah,
and that's what I've been reading and seeing from either news or all the experts in mental health and brain health industry. That seems to be the norm that has been discussed over and over again. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree with you, and I will add one more thing from my experience or my opinion on that. I think last time also, as you mentioned, it was simpler, and like if I'm poor, actually everybody around me is poor. If I'm in famine,
Yes.
everybody around me is in famine. So there's not much pressure, I would say, from your environment and the surrounding. But now, if I'm poor,
Yeah.
I look around, I see people on social media, I see my relatives,
Especially that, right?
I feel, I'm the loser, and everybody is making it, and I'm just
Yeah.
losing, and that I think add an extra layer of stress and pressure
Yes.
that you need to
Yes,
achieve.
for sure.
So I think that's another factor.
The comparison, right? We never stop comparing ourselves with our neighbor, right? What car they are driving, which school their children are going to, their children are better behaving than ours, and so on and so on. You just never stop comparing, and it's really it just break us down. Just break us down. Yeah.
Right. And like, in your opinion, so I think ambition is healthy. Yeah, to improve yourself, to optimize yourself, to get better to the next level is healthy.
Yeah.
But sometimes it becomes an obsession, or it can go to an unhealthy mindset.
Yeah.
But on the other hand, like giving up or just accepting being mediocre, I would say it's also unhealthy. So how can we find a balance between accepting, being grateful, and also being ambitious?
I love your question, Homam. I love your question. I have been on both sides. I've been on both sides of the spectrum, and both sides brought me a lot of dissatisfaction, disappointment, and sadness. Like you say, I feel like a loser, right? On both ends. The end where I just let go of everything is really, I would say, digging my own grave. Like, if I'm not striving, if I'm not stretching myself, if I'm not growing, what am I? I'm just living, being consuming oxygen, right? So that doesn't give us purpose as well, right? So, and I've on the other end, I've woke up from this end and moved to the other end, say, I'm going to chase something, I'm going to 10x my income, I'm going to this, that, right? And I'm almost like a bulldozer. I don't care about my family, don't care about my husband and children. I say, I'm going to do all this, almost like being a robot. And that also brought me to no joy, almost always in a ungrateful position, because when you're chasing something, just so focused in chasing that thing, everything around you becomes irrelevant. You are not grateful with the things that you have, and that tears us down again. So being both sides of the spectrum doesn't work. And now I found my middle ground, and how we can all find our middle ground is this. This is what I learned, that we need to begin with the end in mind. Like the cliche that everybody seems to say, Stephen Covey, right? Begin with the end in mind. What is it on the day that you leave this planet Earth? All right. What would you like your best friends, your family, your most important people in your life to remember about you? Maybe if you can say 3 things. Would you have something like that? For me, I always want the people around me to remember me as someone who is supportive. That's why that is still my core value. Supportive and encourager. I like to encourage people to go for their dreams. I like to encourage people to stretch, encourager, and kind, with compassion. I don't want to be just another robot or human that is chasing all these big dreams but do not live as a human. I do not want to be that as well. So these are the 3 core values that I would like the people around me to remember me as. And from there, okay, I want to have this kind of life, being this mother, being this entrepreneur, to represent this core value and work backwards to say, what can I do today that would give me satisfaction and to drive me towards that end goal? And that's the future that we're looking forward. But there are a lot of hints that we already have within ourselves, which is our past, our strength, what interests us, what gives us, what makes our eye just light up, right? What keeps us awake at night with excitement. So those are the telltale signs, that those are the areas that you may want to focus in in order to help you achieve that end goal. So you put the two together and you say, wow, this is where my middle ground is. I can thrive in this profession or this industry or this skill and strength I have, but with that core value that I totally believe in. And you live in that position. You have both your past and your future supporting your now. And that's where I find the best moment, because you are being grateful that where you came from, how you have come to this point, everything that support you into where you are right now, you're grateful, because without all these things and all these people around you, we can't be here, right? And you're grateful for everything that you have now. And then you are striving, looking forward to something that will, stretch you. You think always being patient, supportive is easy? No, everything mess with you, right? So it stretches me to want to be that end goal, to always make myself better. I would learn how to articulate words in a kinder manner instead of just telling someone off, right? That doesn't help. So I learned things so that it could support my future role as well as what I'm doing now. And that's where I find the happiest time of my life is finding that balance.
Yeah, I find this framework of thinking is really powerful. And honestly, I was going through kind of a midlife crisis. That's why I started this podcast.
Yes.
Because
awesome.
the way when you said you need to start with the end, and like 3 things people need to remember about you or will say about you if let's say you pass away now. I think this is changed the mind, because I was constantly, or I maybe until you now mentioned this, measuring myself by maybe material things, like how much money in the bank account, what car I'm driving, all these material things, which does not really measure you on a whole. Like it will maybe measure one aspect of your success, but it doesn't measure your entire potential. So this framework of thinking what people will think of you when you pass away, I think it's more powerful metric that you can use, and it kind of, I think what matters is it is what better for society in general. Like, will the society be better if, let's say, we have more billionaires, or will the society be better if we have more kind people, for example, or more supportive people? I would say
we need billionaires to be kind people.
Yes. So if they have that mindset shift, then the world will be even better. Yeah, I am not against billionaire. I would like to be a billionaire, but
of course,
it shouldn't be like your ultimate goal. I think like the mindset you described, I think that's more balanced way to think about life.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So tell me a little bit, Homam, about your experience with midlife crisis.
So yeah, I turned 41, and
wow, congratulations!
And,
welcome to the club.
Yeah, so I find myself like I'm balding. I was unhealthy. I was kind of like, I won't call myself obese, but I was kind of fat. My lifestyle was not really healthy. I never exercised. I never. So I think the midlife crisis did a positive thing on me. So it's kind of like a wake up call. So starting from, I was like around 39, going to 40, that you have kind of a wake up. So I was looking, what I have saved for retirement, like, especially the financial part was very stressful. I felt like I'm a total loser. I compare myself to my friends or some other people, like they bought a house. I did not buy a house. Like, in Asia, you must buy a house. You must have a property. Like I did not, because I kind of didn't believe in property. I think rent is cheaper while I buy a house. Like this is exactly kind of my mentality at that time. So I would say that the midlife crisis was hard on me, but I took, I think, some positive steps. So first thing, I thought, I'm not going to worry about I'm balding. I'm going to shave my head. I'm bald, okay?
Still handsome.
Thank you very much. So I'm going to take control on this baldness thing. I'm not going to let it control me or harm my self-confidence. So I shaved my head. I started exercising, and I used to smoke. I quit smoking now for 3 years. I started to exercise for now, so far, 1.5 years. I managed to lose fat and build some muscles, because before I think I almost had no muscle, because I'm working behind the computer all the time, as a software developer. Like similar life that you mentioned before, like I don't see the sun because I was working at night. So I sleep in the day, work at night. I'm not seeing the sun. I'm kind of become depressed. I went through burnout multiple times. I will describe to you the burnout sometimes to me like this. Like I will sit in front of the computer and I will do nothing. I can't push myself to work. Like I can't start the work. I'm not like wasting time. I'm not watching a movie or no. I can't even do that because I'm too stressed thinking about work and what I have to do. But at the same time, I cannot do the work. I don't know if you understand what I mean. So
definitely.
even like if I want to open the browser or the Word document, it takes me 15 minutes. Sometimes even to open the laptop, I need like to walk. I walk in the house from one wall to one wall. I will need to walk like for half an hour to get my mental strength to say, okay, I'm going to start the work. I'm going to open the laptop and I'm going to work. This is how much effort it used to take me to work. So I chat to ChatGPT about this.
Yes.
So
Thank God for ChatGPT.
ChatGPT suggested that there's no alignment between my values and the work I'm doing. I should look into something more meaningful, something kind of more, closer to my values, closer to things I like. So I like to talk to people. So like just coding is not really something I like. I can code and I like to code. I like to create things. But at the same time, I like to talk to people. So that's why I kind of started this podcast, and now I'm reinventing myself. So I used to have a job. I quit from that job, and now I joined. As I mentioned to you before we start the podcast, I joined this Antler program, and I'm trying to do a startup about something I really believe in and care about, and it can make changes in people's life, but still do impact and sustainable and profitable. So that's another part of the equation. It's not just because we cannot just do non-profit. If it's a business, we have to take care of the bits. So this is I don't want to take all that time talking. This is my journey with midlife crisis, with burnout.
Yes. Homam, can I just add a little bit about the sun? Because you also mentioned about not seeing the sun. Because during those times, I did not understand the importance of the sun, right? So I was just burying my head down to work to meet the deadline, right? But now that I look back, I understood why I felt miserable at the time. Because when we are exposed to the sun, our skin will make vitamin D, right? Vitamin D is another kind of we also classify it as hormone that help our brain produce dopamine, which is the feel-good neurotransmitter. So when we do not have the sun for long period of time, we could not produce the vitamin D, and therefore biologically our brain could not give us the dopamine, the feel-good juice, right? So therefore we feel down, we feel depressed, we feel miserable.
Actually,
and it's all in the biology.
The vitamin D is very important, as you mentioned, to all hormones, not just dopamine, dopamine and other hormones. And I did a vitamin D test, and I was deficient on vitamin D. That's
wow. You did a test. I did not do any tests back then.
I did it, and I was like, I can't remember the number, but it was on the deficient. I'm considered deficient, so I trying to be more mindful about going out during the sun. I started to take vitamin D supplement. First, I was taking small doses. Then I increased the dose to 2,000, 3,000 UI. Yeah, I know some people say that's too high, but I think as long as you're below 4,000 per day, that's still safe. Between 2,000 to 4,000, I would say, still safe.
Yeah. So that's awesome, right? Because that's why I feel that it's so important to talk about the science, the biology of things, because those are the tangible things that we can sort of tweak a little bit. Like you mentioned, once I know that I'm deprived of sun, I go out to sun more often, or I am deficient in vitamin D, I supplement a little bit more. That's within your control. And with that little actions that we put in our life, it turns our feelings around, right? We feel better, we feel more motivated, and we feel more positive. And that's the whole thing, why it got me so excited to talk about the biology, how the biology support our mental health. Yeah.
Okay. I like to unpack more there about the nutrition and the exercise. I don't know if you, I know you are a nutritionist, but I don't know about nutrition coach. But I don't know about exercise. What? Maybe we start with the exercise. What's your thoughts on exercise? Do you exercise yourself?
Yes, I do. Not always. I must say, not always. I only started exercising, I think, regularly during COVID time.
Well, what
It
kind
was
of
just a
exercise?
few
Is it
years ago.
cardio? Is it weightlifting?
Okay, when it's lockdown, right? You have no place to go. You can't even go out and jog. I hate jogging, by the way.
Me too.
So the only thing I could do was Tabata.
What is that?
HIIT. HIIT, the
high intensity
interval,
okay.
high intensity
Okay.
interval. Yeah, I did HIIT. I did Tabata, so I could just look at a YouTube Tabata video and I could just follow in my house, pull out my mat, and then I could start exercising. I remember that the first time I did the Tabata for 7 minutes only, I dropped dead on the ground, almost died. Like you mentioned, no muscle on you, right? I felt that way. I felt there's no more strength left in my body. Like, wow, my goodness, it's only 7 minutes, and my kids all laugh at me. Oh, mommy, you're so weak, you're so weak, you're so weak. Yeah. So that was how I began. Because back then, I'm also always behind the computer, answering clients' emails, churning out newsletters and things like that. And I have no time. I tell myself, right? I have no time to exercise. Every time my husband tells me, you need to exercise more. I have no time for that. Wait till I have time. Guess
There
what,
will never
Mom?
be time.
The time never come to you.
Yeah, that's why now I prioritize exercise. Like, if I have to choose work or exercise, I choose exercise. Like, I used to tell my boss, I'm going to exercise. I don't care. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome.
But what about so you doing HIIT? But you mentioned muscle building. You don't do weight training or resistance training.
Oh, after that, I started to do other weight training, a little bit more cardio, a combination of cardio and toning. And then now I'm into stretching.
Oh, stretching. Okay. Okay.
I'm close to 50 years old, so your bones kind of all get tightened up. Thank you. So your bones and your muscle, everything kind of stiffen up like in a matter of hours. In a few hours of sleep, you wake up feeling like a zombie, you can't move. So now stretching puts back the blood flow in the body. So how this exercise affect our mental health is because when we exercise, the brain will produce more endorphin. And
it's
endorphin
one of the
is like
happiness,
our... Exactly. It's actually our natural morphine. Natural morphine that, people would take to feel relaxed and happy and chill, and they can't relax, so they need an external help. But this we can produce from our own body with just a few minutes of exercise.
Okay.
So that helps, as well as blood flow. When you exercise, you have more blood, not just helping your cardiovascular health, but also your brain health. And when you have more blood flow, you think faster, you can recollect your memory better, you can join, ideas together. And that's the powerful thing of having more blood flow. And now that I understand the science behind it, I will never say no time for exercise.
Actually, I saw a study. Actually, I saw a video talking about a study. So I'm not reading the study. So it says that they find one type of exercise that let human brain grow like new pathways or new. I don't know the exact term. Yeah, I think so. And it is resistant training. It's none of the others.
Yeah,
it's resistant training. Because I know this is maybe not nice to say, but I saw like on video, those people who can like move their chest muscle, for example. And before I stand in front of me, I try to do that, I can't. So there is no brain muscle connection. And then after I start to do exercise, I start doing the chest exercise. After like 2 months, 3 months, I thought, let me try. And then I could do it. So that before I really try to focus, I can't move the muscle. I can't move the chest muscle. But then after,
because there's no brain wave.
So that means after that, my brain or my body managed to find that connection. Yeah.
Awesome. But that's only one kickback of exercise, is that we all need to sort of take precaution. Is that when we exercise, we also we are actually causing our body to hurt. We are causing our body to, that's why we feel pain and sore after the exercise, right? We are actually breaking down our muscle. And with that, the body needs to recover. When the body recovers, it's very high in inflammation.
True. And stress could be cortisol too.
Exactly. Inflammation, stress, cortisol is all up there. And that's why we need the recovery time. We need to give our body rest. We need to have a lot of antioxidant to help our body sort of de-stress, return back to the homeostasis mode, whereby, now it's back to normal. We can continue the next level. We can't just push. We break our body down. So we have to push, recover, push, recover, push, recover. That way, then we grow stronger. A lot of people don't seem to know that. I see a lot of marathon runners, because it's long distance running cardio throughout, right? A lot of them are aging faster than people who are not marathon runners. When I compare my friends who are marathon runner and not marathon runners, and they are about the same age, and I could see that, they are really aging faster. So the difference is really your antioxidant needs to be sufficient. Yeah, more veg, more fruits, more fish, omega-3. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally agree with you. Actually, I don't know. I think marathon runners look horrible. I'm sorry.
Poor thing,
I'm
right?
sorry.
Poor thing,
So
right?
so that's why I'm not a fan of cardio or marathon. I started to do it, and actually I did that mistake. I was training 6 days a week, and then I felt actually I'm getting worse. My stress becoming more, because I thought, if you exercise, your stress should go down. But I feel I'm becoming more stressed, and actually I don't feel my muscle growing anymore, because I had some growth, and then I feel like I'm stagnant, or actually it's kind of going down, and I start to have some injuries. Then I watched, if you know Dr. Mike Israel. He has a PhD in sports, so he's a bodybuilder, but he's also educated on that. So he taught science-based bodybuilding. So he was saying, you can easily overtrain, because the muscle building does not happen when you exercise. The muscle building happen in the resting period.
After.
So the exercise is just a stimulation for your muscle. It breaks the tissues of the muscle. So when it recovers, it's going to recover bigger. So your goal is not the exercise itself. It's the recovery after that, the sleep, the nutrition. You need to bring your cortisol down, because if the cortisol high, you can't build muscle. You can't lose weight, actually. You can't lose fat. You can't lose weight. As long as the cortisol high, your insulin will be high. You can't lose fat.
Exactly. And one of the exercise particularly for people who want to prevent from Alzheimer's dementia, because one of my maternal grandfather was diagnosed with Alzheimer's dementia, and my paternal grandma had a stroke. So you see, I come from a family where the DNA doesn't really support me in my brain health, so I have to support myself, right? So what I learned is that brisk walking, just 30 minutes a day, 3 to 4 times a week, for 30 minutes a day, each time you do it, it will reduce your risk of Alzheimer down to 30%. From a high 80, usually our risk is quite high for, across board, 80% down to 30%. Just brisk walking, because brisk walking doesn't stress your body that much. Like you mentioned, when you do a lot of toning and training, right, you actually stress your body, stress your brain as well. But when you do brisk walking, it's just a little bit of stretching you, but not stressing you. So you can kind of brisk walk your way to better brain health.
Actually, brisk walking or walking in general, I think it's the best exercise. You don't need subscription. You don't need gym. You can just walk. Like even if you drive, park your car at the forest parking lot and walk to work. And at lunchtime time.
But Malaysia is very hot, Homam, very
walk in
hot.
the mall. This is what I do. Walk in the mall. It's air conditioned, covered.
Walk in the mall.
And you can see people, and
So I have clients, right, that they use like a few months, they live in UK. They come back to Malaysia, and then a few months, and then they go back to UK. They tell me, Shirlyn, every time I come back to Malaysia, I put on weight. Not just because of Malaysian food, but because the weather is just so hot. We don't want to walk because it's not enjoyable. But in the UK, it's cooler, it's not so humid, it's dry.
It's walking friendly also. Like I noticed between living in Singapore and Malaysia. In Singapore, I walk a lot. First thing, I don't have a car there, and
you're forced to
everything is designed. There is a walkway. It is walking friendly. In Malaysia, like there is places there is no walkway, and even if there's a place to walk, you will see there's a hole. There you can trip and fall, and you injure yourself instead of getting better.
Exactly.
So one time I
especially for older
I almost fall in one of those. The drainage that it was uncovered. Yeah.
Oh no! Thank God you didn't fall into it. Oh my goodness! Yeah, that's the thing with our infrastructure. It's not very well done. In Singapore, it's much better. Yeah. I heard that the government in Singapore is trying to make Singapore into a blue zone.
Yes. It is actually a blue zone. I heard. It's
It is already
a
a blue zone country?
Yeah.
Wow, amazing. Yeah, that's cool.
There were a few things I wanted to. Okay, supplements. What? Since we talked
Yes.
vitamin D, is there any supplements do you recommend? Or some people say, oh, this supplement is just a marketing thing. I had like the two sides of the story, and for me, I took so much supplement, like, and then I'm trying now to be kind of moderate about it. Like, I think I used to, I think easily I can take 10 to 15 supplement per day. Yeah, but now I'm
depending on what you take, right? For me, I hated supplement. I could not swallow. Every time I swallow, I have to drink my water. Can you imagine if I have to take 10 supplement, 10 pills, right? I have to swallow a lot of water, right?
10 supplement, 1 glass.
Yeah, too much for me to drink. I hated doing pills and supplements, right? But now that I realize what are their benefits and what is it for, so I would choose the ones that are made from plant-based, made from natural rather than synthetic, because that's how our body would absorb the natural, vitamins and all that, and use it in a better manner rather than synthetic. So that's my first criteria. No additives, all those. So I go for brands that are really, reputable in the area, that they really look after all these things. So then I am comfortable to take them. So the few things that I take, of course, why we take supplements is because the food we take, firstly, you know how we always just like to take a certain type of vegetable and none of the others.
It's not a balanced meal or selective eating.
It's not balanced because our micronutrient is so little compared to if you really, really eat all the full 7 colors. We always just eat a bit of broccoli, a bit of cucumber and tomato, and that's it. The rest we don't touch. So how are we going to get all our micronutrients? We can't. So supplement is basically just to fill up that gap. Whatever that we're missing, we are filling up in the pill form. Not as enjoyable. Yeah, you swallow, you don't get to chew and taste. But yeah, what to do? We can't eat 7 bananas a day anyway, right? Can you?
Also, this is the problem. If you eat 7 bananas a day, you get those nutrition, but you get so much carb.
Yes, exactly. And for that, right, I will swallow the pill. And so because of that, we take a little bit of supplements, just because so that our micronutrients, all that are covered.
How about protein? What about like
I take protein.
Or what kind of protein?
I take plant-based soy protein.
Okay.
Soy protein. I don't take whey because it's still lactose, and I don't. But I don't really digest lactose that well.
Can I tell you something about the whey protein? Okay,
yes. Sure, go ahead.
So I think it depends on the people goal. So soy protein, the one you take, is one of the good protein. So actually, for protein, there's many categories. Some people don't know. They find maybe like dal or lentils. Lentils, it's kind of grain, not grain. What they call.
Dal. Yeah. Okay, chickpeas.
Chickpea is one of them, and there's another one. It's a small round, a bit flat. It's called in English. It's lentils.
Okay.
So it has high protein, but so if your goal is to build muscles, so you can take protein. I think for 2 goals. One of the goal is to reduce the sugar spike. So if you combine something sweet with protein, it will reduce the sugar spike. The second goal, if you want to build muscles, most of the plant-based protein does not have all the amino acids required to build muscle. And if you want to build muscle, you need all of them. If one missing, the body cannot use the rest. So the body cannot store the protein, so it will just get rid of it. So they will be useless. But the soy protein is one of the good ones. So it's about 70%, I would say, effective. Then the second one will be pea protein. Pea is PEA, the green.
PEA, yes.
The pea protein is a little bit better than the soy. Then the best protein, like on all measures, like you will get 100% of the protein you are taking, is the whey protein. Now, whey protein has 3 types. You have the whey concentrate. That one, you are right. It has lactose. It has a lot of things. It has some carbs. It has a lot of things. But then they filter the whey concentrate into something called whey isolate. The whey isolate will have less, for example, it will have less cholesterol, less lactose, less of everything. It will only be more pure on the protein. Then there is the level 3, but this is the most expensive protein. It will be quite expensive. the way I think
Okay.
hydrate or hydro something. I can't. Sorry, my English is not
Okay.
very good.
Okay.
So that one
No
almost
worries.
has no lactose. There is no lactose in it, so it won't cause you
I
any
see.
digestive issues, and it will be
Bloated and all
yeah.
that,
So
right?
if you put 30 gram of that protein, 28
Fully absorbed.
28 of that will be just protein. 2% will be other stuff. While if you put whey concentrate,
see.
if you put 30 gram, maybe only 22 gram of protein, and then you have 8 gram of everything else: fat, cholesterol, lactose, carbs, calcium.
Yep.
It might have more calcium than the hydrate. The hydrate one, sorry if I'm saying the wrong term, that one will not even have much calcium.
I see. So what do you take?
I
What
used to
kind of
take
protein do you take?
combination of pea protein, soy protein, and whey protein. But okay, sorry if I'm talking too much, but there is very important thing. A lot of studies
okay.
found that the plant-based protein, and this is another thing people not realizing. A lot of plant-based supplement and protein, if you get third-party tested one, it will be safer.
Yep.
Because a lot of them will
Yes.
have heavy metals. I don't know why.
That's
but
right.
they
Because of the plantation.
yeah. So the pea protein, they find the highest one. Like they tested, I don't know how many products. 70% of them, especially
Have
pea
high
protein with the chocolate flavor. Pea protein chocolate flavor has 70% of them has heavy metals over the allowed.
The funny thing is you mentioned chocolate is what I want to highlight. Chocolate has got very high metal.
But if you take the pea protein vanilla flavor or unflavored, that will have way less. So you just need to be mindful, or if you can find a brand which is third party tested, and they will tell you exactly how much heavy metals in that one, and you can see is it within the allowed or is it too high, is it too low? Because everything nowadays has heavy metal: fish, seafood, salt, everything.
Yeah, that's the thing. It's scary how the food is killing us slowly, right? But what to do? You still need to eat.
So in the old days, they were dying because of no food. Now we are dying because too much food, or
too much
or
food.
we modified food in a way that we made it unhealthy. Like some people think vegan is very healthy, and vegan it used to be healthy, but when veganism become popular, and then all the food companies find there is a trend, there's people like vegan, there's product, then they start manufacturing it, making it more tasty. Now you have vegan ice cream, you have vegan cake, then people start to overeat because it's very easy to overeat on those food, and you will become unhealthy.
Exactly.
And now they have this vegan burger, but it's all chemicals to make it taste exactly like the normal burger. If you eat normal burger, it's better.
Yeah, it's better. Go for natural. The way I see it is, if we can, whenever possible, go for nature's as it is original, rather than being modified and compress, decompress, whatever, and make it into something else, right? The best thing is still the natural as it is.
And for me, there are some food I don't eat. That's why I need to supplement, like the omega-3. I don't eat much fish. But now I started eating sardines.
It's great. Yeah, because in fishes also have heavy metal. Pollution is everywhere, right? I have a family friend that moved to New Zealand. They are Malaysian. They moved to New Zealand, and because fish there, especially salmon, are like cheap and big and fresh, right? Whoa! So they eat almost every meal salmon for I don't know, a few weeks. And the whole family went into hospital because heavy metal. Yeah, there was too much heavy metal to a point that their body was poisoned, and their hair started to drop.
Wow.
Yeah, their hair all started to drop, and that's where they got a shock. Like, oh, what's going on? I'm eating so much fish until my hair is dropping. And when they were sent to hospital. They tested their heavy metal was just skyrocketed, and that's where they have to do a lot of detox. Before they can come back out. It was quite scary. So let's keep it moderate.
Exactly. Keep it moderate. Have a balanced meal. Like that's why I notice in the West a lot of there are people who carnivore. They only eat meat, and then there's another camp. They only eat vegetables. I'm like, have some common sense.
How do they do that? I'm really amazed.
Eat meat. Eat both together. Yeah.
Exactly.
And if you want to know,
I don't know.
If you want to know your diet healthy
I
or
don't
no, if you need to supplement, that means it's not a healthy diet.
Yes, exactly. And I really salute them in a way that they're so strict and so disciplined in only eating this and only eating that, right? I can't do that for sure. I can't do that. I enjoy food too much to give up anything. Yeah.
Okay. I know you need to leave soon. So I think we have maybe 10 minutes left. Is there
Sure,
any
no
certain
problem.
topic we didn't cover you would like to talk about? Or do you want me to find a question? Or if you want to ask me a question, feel free.
Yeah. There's one thing I'm quite curious about because I used to have clients that have to work round the clock to support, especially software engineers. They have to support the different regions, and they have to, work at night and sleep during the day. And that to me was really sacrificing their health. But how do you all do that? I'm really curious. How do you stay up at night and then wake up and when the sun rises and you sleep, because you're going against your circadian rhythm, right? For me, by the time the clock hits 10:30, 11, I already know my eyes will start to get sleepy and then I will knock off. But how do software engineers do
So
that?
I am like that. I call myself a night owl. So I think part of it is our circadian, what they call it, circadian circle.
Circadian rhythm. Yes.
So it's messed up. It's because I think because we sit behind the computer, I think this is not a scientific based on. It's my assumption, or because we sit behind computer all the time. I think the circadian rhythm is messed up. So I think for me, from teenage time, my sleep cycle is kind of pushed. Like I don't feel sleepy. This is the difference. Like you mentioned at 10 o'clock you feel tired and you want to sleep. If I go to bed at 10, I will be lying in bed for hours and I won't sleep. Like
Sorry, this is the time when you do not have handphone?
all the time.
Did you already have handphone? No,
back
back
then
then,
I didn't have a
teenagers.
handphone, but I had a computer. And it was the old type of screen, the CRT screen, not the LCD, not this flat, the one which was big. So that was the type of computer. But I think from that time I used to sleep 2 a.m., 3 a.m. And then I think when I went to university, it became the worst. So in university time, I sleep in the morning. Like almost when the sun rises, I go to bed. And sometimes I have classes in the morning. You know what I do? I just go with no sleep. And I sleep in the class.
And you can sit through? You sleep in the class?
I will sleep in the class. And then when I come back from university, I will sleep. And then we woke up like, it was me and my housemate, we are all like that. We'll woke up maybe 12 a.m. and then we'll just sit until the next day. And we'll be so noisy, and the neighbors used to complain. And one time the police came because we were too noisy. Yeah.
Making too much noise at night.
Then I fixed my sleeping time, and then I did work for shift when I used to work at Celcom. So we had night shifts. So I hated when I sometimes have morning shift, sometimes night shift. Then I told them, look, because not many people want to take night shift, I said I will take all night shifts. I prefer to stay at night and not have this change, sometimes morning, sometimes night. Then they agree, and actually they pay a little bit better for the night shift. I did it not for the pay, I did it because at least I have a system. Yeah.
I see. Because you prefer working at night.
Working. I don't know. Okay, for Middle Eastern people in particular, you will find the most night owls, I think, by any other population. I think
I must check
that out. Maybe it's in our DNA, because in the desert, you can't do anything in the day. It's too hot. So even when people travel, they used to travel at night. And they use the moon and the stars as a guidance, where in the day, they will just set up their tent and sleep in the day, and they will travel at night. So the nightlife is like, and if you see all poets, poetry, they always talk about the night, how beautiful the night, how beautiful the moon, like everything. Like if they want to talk about their lover, how, everything about night. There's nothing about day. Day is harsh, horrible, hot. The sun is also harsh and horrible and hot. So we don't like the day, we like the night. Very different part of the world is different, but recently, after Hari Raya, I fixed my sleeping time again. So now I sleep 1 to 2 a.m. and I wake up 10, 10:30. To me, that's a huge accomplishment. Now, from next week, I need to start going to office I be at office 9 a.m. So let's see how that's going to go.
But you will get your like 7 to 8 hours of sleep anyway. It's just a matter of either sleeping at 3, waking up at 10 in the morning, or earlier.
Yes. So to me, I was reading about it. So they always say like it's sleeping in the day is not good. It's not. But I'm like, I can maybe if your circadian rhythm shifted, so you're still sleeping within that. I think it could be as same as the morning people, because we are not lazy. Like it's just for me. I would rather stay up until 6 a.m. than wake up at 6 a.m. This is how it is.
Because as I know, the circadian rhythm follows the sun. So when the sun rises, our body will produce certain chemical to wake us up.
Okay.
And then we work, and then we go around the sun, and then at evening we will sort of chill down our body. And then when the sun sets, it's where our melatonin will be produced, and that's where it helps us to go to bed. And so our circadian go according to the sun. But now that you mention, because it's been generations of the Middle Eastern, having to go through that kind of harsh harsh daytime, that they prefer night, and maybe that's true. And that's where you mentioned that the Western Middle Eastern people are used to working at night more than the daytime. They really just sort of reboot or reset their circadian to follow that kind of shift. That's interesting.
And what I'm saying is not based on science. It's just my
I'll go and check it out.
assumption. But I also noticed like those who are present for a long time, let's say, and they don't go out, their time, the sleeping time is going to shift, because they will be a point where they won't recognize, is this now day or night? Let's say if you are locked in a room and you never go out, you don't know when day. So if you observe a person like this, you will see maybe he think day is the day, but it's actual night. So it's going to shift. So now they're not exposed to sun, but I think their hormones going to change or shift, and I don't know what is controlling that, since they are not exposed to sun. But they should have some sleeping schedule and wake up system, but it's not with the sun.
Off the light, they switch off the light. That's why, right, the Malaysian government during our COVID lockdown time, remember they were advertising on all the social media, telling the people, even though you're at home, you don't have to go to work, you wake up at a certain time, you have your breakfast within this time, you have your lunch within this time, and then your dinner at this time, then go to bed at this time. They were like trying to tell the people, hey guys, you don't just wake up and party all day, okay? You gotta sort of still take care of your health in that sense.
Yeah, you have to keep your system. And as you mentioned, a lot of hormones, like for men, the testosterone will be highest in the morning. So if you screw up the sleeping, it might also mess up your hormones. I don't know for ladies how the hormone play with sleep, but I think it must have some play in there. Okay, I think I don't want to hold you for longer. I know you have some other commitment. I think it was really a pleasure talking to you. I really enjoyed my time, and I would really like to talk to you again. And I think we can cover more topics if the time allows, and if you're open for that.
Sure. Thank you so much, Homam. I would like to catch up with you over coffee one of these days.
It would be my honor.
Not just virtual.
Yes, definitely. Since I'm in KL now. All right. Thank you very much, Shirlyn, and have a good day. Thank you, everybody.
You too. Thank you, everyone. Have a good day.